Edgar Cayce discovered something that will forever change how you understand what happens to consciousness after physical death. Because hidden within his 14,000 documented readings lies the most detailed map of the soul's journey through the first 40 days beyond the veil. What he revealed about this crucial transition period challenges everything mainstream religion and science tells us about death, and the implications are so profound that even his closest associates initially refused to publish these particular readings. Right now, as you're watching this, millions of souls are navigating this precise 40-day journey, experiencing stages of consciousness that most people on Earth know nothing about. If you've ever wondered what really happens when we die, if consciousness truly survives, or why the number 40 appears in spiritual traditions worldwide, what you're about to discover will revolutionize your understanding of life, death, and the eternal nature of human consciousness. Before we jump back in, tell us where you're tuning in from, and if this story touches you, make sure you're subscribed, because tomorrow I've saved something extra special for you. The story begins in 1938 when Cayce received one of the most unusual requests of his entire career. A wealthy businessman from Baltimore named Harrison Whitmore had lost his beloved wife Catherine to pneumonia just 6 weeks earlier. Harrison wasn't seeking comfort or spiritual platitudes. He was demanding answers, and he came to Virginia Beach with a specific challenge that would push Cayce's abilities to their absolute limits. Harrison had been having experiences that defied rational explanation. Every night at exactly 3:17 a.m., he would wake to find Catherine standing at the foot of their bed, but not as a ghostly apparition. She appeared more real and vibrant than she had been in her final months of illness. Catherine would speak to him with crystal clarity, sharing details about places she was visiting and experiences she was having that sounded nothing like the heaven or hell described in traditional religious teachings. What disturbed Harrison most wasn't fear of these encounters, but the mathematical precision with which they occurred. Catherine had died on February 15th, and these visitations had begun exactly 7 days later. She told him she could only communicate during specific windows, and that after 40 days from her death, everything would change. Harrison needed to know if his wife was truly communicating from beyond death, or if grief had driven him to the edge of madness. When Cayce entered his trance state to address Harrison's desperate inquiry, what emerged was reading 28471, one of the most extraordinary documents in the entire Association for Research and Enlightenment archives. The sleeping Cayce didn't just confirm that Catherine was indeed communicating with her husband. He revealed something far more incredible about what every human soul experiences during the first 40 days after leaving the physical body. According to this reading, the 40-day period isn't arbitrary. It represents what Cayce called the soul's adjustment phase, during which consciousness gradually releases its attachment to earthly vibrations and aligns with its new spiritual reality. Catherine was communicating with Harrison because she was in what Cayce described as the, quote, review and recognition stage, where the soul maintains strong connections to loved ones while beginning to understand its expanded state of existence. The entity has not fully released the earth plane vibrations, Cayce explained in trance. For in these first days beyond the physical, the soul consciousness remains accessible to those with whom the strongest bonds of love were formed. This communication serves both the departed soul and the grieving loved one, as love itself becomes the bridge between dimensions of existence. Harrison's detailed records of his conversations with Catherine became the foundation for understanding what Cayce called the 7 stages of soul transition during the first 40 days after death. What makes this case so remarkable is that Catherine described her experiences in real time as she was living them, providing an unprecedented first-hand account of consciousness beyond physical death. Catherine told Harrison that immediately after leaving her body, she experienced what felt like awakening from a long, troubled sleep. The pain and struggle of her final illness vanished instantly, replaced by a sensation of lightness and clarity she had never known during physical life. She found herself in what appeared to be a vast, luminous space that wasn't quite a place in any earthly sense, but rather a state of consciousness that could adapt to her expectations and needs. The soul sees clearly, Cayce stated, how each challenge faced, each kindness offered, each opportunity for growth either accepted or rejected, contributes to the great work of consciousness evolution that is the true purpose of existence across all dimensions. Catherine described the third stage, occurring between days 15 and 21, as a period of what she called dimensional exploration. During this phase, she began to understand that reality extends far beyond the physical universe humans perceive. She visited what seemed to be other worlds, other times, and other states of being, always accompanied by her guides who helped her interpret these experiences. She told Harrison about visiting beautiful realms of pure color and sound, where entire civilizations of souls worked together on projects that served the evolution of consciousness throughout the cosmos. She described meeting souls she had known in previous lifetimes, including some who were currently incarnated on Earth, but whose higher consciousness could communicate with her during their sleep states. Most remarkably, Catherine reported visiting what she called healing centers, where souls worked to repair damage caused by traumatic earthly experiences. She observed souls who had suffered violent deaths, mental illness, or severe emotional trauma receiving treatment that restored their consciousness to wholeness and prepared them for their next phase of existence. When Cayce was asked about these healing centers in reading 2847-4, his response revolutionized understanding of what happens to souls who die under difficult circumstances. He revealed that no soul remains trapped by the conditions of its death, and that specialized healing environments exist in the spiritual dimensions to restore any consciousness that has been damaged by earthly suffering. Love is the healing force that operates in these realms, Cayce explained. Just as the physical body has mechanisms for healing wounds, the soul has access to healing energies that can repair any damage caused by earthly experience. No soul is ever lost or condemned, for the very nature of consciousness is to heal, grow, and evolve toward greater expressions of divine love. The fourth stage, which Catherine experienced between days 22 and 28, involved what she described as purpose clarification. During this period, she began to see clearly the reasons why she had chosen her most recent earthly incarnation, and how her experiences had served not only her own soul's growth, but also the evolution of everyone she had touched during her lifetime. Catherine told Harrison that she could see the intricate web of connections between souls, understanding how their marriage had provided specific learning opportunities for both of them. She realized that her illness and death had been chosen by her soul before incarnation, as a way to help Harrison develop compassion, strength, and ultimately, a deeper understanding of consciousness survival. She also described being shown potential future paths, including possibilities for her next incarnation and opportunities for continued service to other souls. What surprised her most was learning that souls often work together across multiple lifetimes, playing different roles but always serving each other's highest growth and evolution. Reading 2847-5 confirmed that this purpose clarification stage is crucial for the soul's continued development. Cayce revealed that understanding the deeper meaning behind earthly experiences allows the soul to release any remaining attachments to unfinished business or unresolved emotions that might otherwise delay its spiritual progress. The soul sees the perfection in apparent imperfection, Cayce stated, understanding that every experience, whether perceived as positive or negative during earthly life, serves the greater purpose of consciousness evolution and the expansion of love throughout creation. Catherine's description of the fifth stage, occurring between days 29 and 35, involved what she called service preparation. During this phase, she was shown various ways she could continue to serve the evolution of consciousness, both for souls still incarnated on Earth and for those transitioning through the spiritual dimensions. She told Harrison that some souls choose to become guides for newly transitioned consciousness, while others work to inspire creative breakthroughs in living humans, and still others dedicate themselves to healing work in the spiritual realms. Catherine was particularly drawn to helping souls who had died suddenly or traumatically, using her own experience of peaceful transition to comfort and guide those who needed additional support. During this stage, Catherine also began to understand the cosmic significance of love relationships formed during earthly life. She realized that the deep connection she shared with Harrison wasn't limited to their single lifetime together, but was part of an eternal bond that would continue to serve both souls' evolution across multiple dimensions of existence. Reading 2847-6 revealed that this service preparation stage demonstrates the interconnected nature of all consciousness. Cayce explained that every soul, regardless of its level of development, has unique gifts to offer in service to the greater whole, and that discovering these gifts is one of the primary purposes of the first 40 days after transition. No soul exists for itself alone, Cayce stated. Each consciousness is both student and teacher, receiving from those more advanced, while serving those who are following similar paths of development. This eternal cycle of giving and receiving. Preparing and narrating this story took us a lot of time, so if you are enjoying it, Subscribe to our channel. It means a lot to us. Now, back to the story. Is the engine that drives the evolution of all existence. The sixth stage, which Catherine experienced between days 36 and 39, involved what she described as, quote, dimensional alignment. During this crucial phase, she began to feel her connection to earthly vibrations naturally diminishing, while her attunement to spiritual frequencies grew stronger and more stable. Catherine told Harrison that this wasn't a loss but rather an expansion, like a butterfly emerging from its cocoon and discovering the vast sky it was always meant to inhabit. She could still communicate with him, but it required more effort and occurred during increasingly specific conditions. She explained that this gradual release was necessary and natural, allowing her to fully embrace her expanded state of consciousness. During this stage, Catherine also experienced what she called frequency matching with her soul group and guides. She began to vibrate at the same rate as other souls in her spiritual community, creating a harmony of consciousness that enhanced everyone's ability to serve and evolve together. Reading 2847-7 confirmed that this dimensional alignment is one of the most important aspects of the 40-day transition period. Cayce revealed that souls who try to maintain earthly attachments beyond this natural release point may delay their spiritual progress and limit their ability to serve both incarnated and discarnate consciousness. The soul must release the old to embrace the new, Cayce explained. Just as a child must leave the womb to breathe air and begin independent life, the soul must release earthly vibrations to function fully in spiritual dimensions and continue its eternal journey of growth and service. The seventh and final stage, occurring on day 40, was what Catherine described as graduation into her new state of existence. On this day, her communication with Harrison took on a completely different quality. Instead of the detailed conversations they had shared for weeks, Catherine's message was simple but profound. She told him that she was moving into a more expanded state of consciousness where their love would continue but express itself in new ways. Catherine explained that she would still be able to influence his life, but through inspiration, synchronicity, and the subtle guidance that souls provide to their loved ones from spiritual dimensions. She assured Harrison that their bond was eternal and that they would be reunited when his own earthly journey was complete, but that her role was now to serve the greater evolution of consciousness while maintaining her love and care for him. On the morning of the 40th day after Catherine's death, Harrison woke to find a profound sense of peace replacing the desperate grief he had carried for weeks. He knew, without any doubt, that Catherine had successfully completed her transition and was thriving in her expanded state of existence. Reading 2847-8, the final reading in this series, revealed the cosmic significance of what Harrison and Catherine had experienced together. Cayce explained that their detailed record of the 40-day transition period provided a template for understanding what every human soul experiences after death, though individual experiences vary based on spiritual development, earthly attachments, and soul purposes. What Harrison documented, Cayce stated, represents the natural pattern of consciousness evolution that occurs when the soul releases physical existence and embraces its true spiritual nature. This process serves not only the transitioning soul but also provides comfort and understanding for those who remain in physical incarnation. The implications of Catherine's communications and Cayce's confirmations extend far beyond this single case. In subsequent readings, Cayce revealed that understanding the 40-day transition period can transform how living souls approach both life and death, reducing fear while increasing appreciation for the eternal nature of consciousness and love. He explained that souls currently incarnated on Earth can support their loved ones' transitions by understanding this natural process and releasing them with love rather than clinging with grief. Excessive mourning, Cayce revealed, can actually make the transition more difficult for departing souls by creating emotional chains that interfere with their natural spiritual evolution. Cayce also revealed practical applications of this knowledge for living souls. Understanding the 40-day pattern helps explain why many people experience intense dreams, synchronicities, or sense of presence from deceased loved ones during this specific time period. Rather than dismissing these experiences as imagination or wishful thinking, people can recognize them as genuine communications from souls navigating their transition. In reading 2847-9, requested 6 months after Catherine's transition, Cayce provided additional insights about how souls continue to evolve after completing their 40-day adjustment period. He revealed that consciousness continues to expand and develop in spiritual dimensions, working toward ever greater expressions of love, wisdom, and service to the evolution of all existence. The soul's journey does not end with physical death, Cayce explained, but rather begins a new phase of unlimited development. The 40-day period is simply the bridge between earthly and spiritual existence, preparing consciousness for the infinite adventures of spiritual growth that await beyond the veil. Catherine's case became the foundation for understanding dozens of similar experiences documented in Cayce's later readings. Time and again, families reported receiving communications from deceased loved ones that followed the same 7-stage pattern Catherine had described. These consistent reports provided overwhelming evidence that consciousness not only survives physical death, but follows a predictable pattern of adjustment and evolution. One of the most significant aspects of these findings is how they address common fears about death and the afterlife. Cayce's readings consistently showed that no soul faces transition alone, that love provides the bridge between dimensions, and that death is not an ending, but a graduation into expanded existence. Understanding the 40-day pattern also offers practical comfort for those dealing with grief. Instead of viewing death as a permanent separation, people can recognize it as a temporary adjustment period during which love relationships continue in modified form. The knowledge that deceased loved ones are actively working to inspire and guide those still in physical existence transforms mourning from hopeless loss into celebration of ongoing connection. Perhaps most remarkably, Cayce's revelations about the first 40 days after death provide a framework for understanding how to live more consciously while still in physical existence. Knowing that every thought, word, and action will be reviewed with perfect clarity and understanding encourages souls to make choices based on love, service, and spiritual growth rather than purely material concerns. The 7 stages of transition that Catherine experienced represent more than just an afterlife roadmap. They provide a template for spiritual evolution that can be applied during earthly life. Living souls can practice the qualities developed during transition, such as releasing attachments, serving others, and aligning with higher purposes, transforming their current existence while preparing for their own eventual graduation into spiritual dimensions. Harrison Whitmore's willingness to document and share his extraordinary experience with Catherine created a legacy that continues to comfort and inspire people facing the death of loved ones. His detailed records prove that love truly is stronger than death, and that consciousness continues its eternal journey of growth and service across all dimensions of existence. The 40-day revelation stands as one of Edgar Cayce's most profound contributions to human understanding of consciousness survival. By mapping the soul's journey through this crucial transition period, these readings provide both scientific evidence of life after death and practical guidance for living with greater awareness of our eternal spiritual nature. Every human being will one day experience their own 40-day journey beyond the veil. Understanding this process removes fear and replaces it with anticipation of the expanded consciousness and unlimited service opportunities that await every soul willing to release earthly limitations and embrace its divine spiritual heritage. The story of Catherine and Harrison reminds us that death is not the end of love or consciousness, but rather their transformation into more powerful and enduring forms. Every goodbye is actually a beginning, every ending opens into infinite possibility, and every soul that appears to die is actually being born into the magnificent reality of unlimited spiritual existence. Up next, you've got 2 more standout stories right on your screen. If this one hit the mark, you won't want to pass these up. Just click and check them out.